rundown comparing the 2024 Volkswagen T-Cross and the 2024 Nissan Juke N-Sport to help you decide which might be a better fit for you. Volkswagen T-Cross. Strengths: more refined interior with higher quality materials. More spacious and comfortable for passengers. Generally good safety ratings. Expected to have a longer warranty, typically 4 years per 50,000 miles versus 3 years per 36,000 miles for Nissan. More predictable handling. Weaknesses: less sporty driving experience. May not be as visually exciting for some. Possibly a slightly higher starting price. Nissan Juke N-Sport. Strengths: more powerful engine with a sportier feel. Unique and stylish design. Maybe slightly more affordable. Fun to drive for those who enjoy a zippy ride. Weaknesses: interior materials may feel less substantial. Tighter rear passenger and cargo space. Lower safety ratings in some tests compared to T-Cross. Shorter warranty. Here are some additional factors to consider. Fuel economy: both vehicles are expected to have similar fuel efficiency ratings. Technology: the T-Cross may have a slight edge with a larger digital instrument cluster available and a more modern infotainment system. Cargo space: the T-Cross offers more cargo space behind the rear seats. Overall, the T-Cross is a good choice if you prioritize a comfortable ride, a spacious interior, and a refined driving experience. The Juke N-Sport is a better option if you prefer a sportier feel, a unique design, and a potentially lower price tag. The VW T-Cross is spacious and good to drive, although the Ford Puma is more fun, but if you're looking at top-of-the-range versions, we'd recommend considering the more sophisticated VW T-Roc instead. The T-Cross makes most sense with the 1.0 TSI 95 petrol engine in mid-range match spec. The Nissan Juke has a smart interior and comes with plenty of equipment, but there are more rounded choices in the small SUV class, including the Ford Puma, Skoda Kamiq, and VW T-Roc. If you're buying a Juke, we'd recommend the Dig T114 in entry-level and connected trim. Performance and drive. The VW T-Cross's entry-level petrol engine, badged 1.0 TSI 95, is all you'll probably need. It's not as nippy as a Ford Puma 1.0 EcoBoost MHEV but still serves up enough performance with a bit of work from the engine, hitting 0 to 62 miles per hour in 11.2 seconds officially. It comes with a 5-speed manual gearbox. The more powerful 1.0 TSI 115 offers slightly faster acceleration, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 10.0 seconds, and comes with a 6-speed manual gearbox as standard. The difference isn't huge, so we'd be tempted to save the money if you tend to stick to town driving. It does make cruising on longer journeys a bit more effortless, but you'll still need to change down a gear when driving up steeper hills. The 1.0 TSI 115 is also available with a 7-speed DSG automatic gearbox. We've yet to try it, but we know it's a little slower than the manual, with 0 to 62 miles per hour in 10.3 seconds. The Nissan Juke engine lineup starts with our favorite 112 brake horsepower 1.0-liter turbocharged petrol engine, badged Dig T114. It's hardly quick. In our tests it took a lengthy 11.7 seconds to sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour, but it's gutsy enough as long as you keen the revs above 2000 RPM. Equivalent engines in the rival Skoda Kamiq and VW T-Roc are stronger, albeit not by a great deal. The mild hybrid engines in the Puma, especially the 1.0 EcoBoost Hybrid, MHEV 155, are another matter and offer significantly faster acceleration than the 1.0-liter Juke. The other Juke engine option is the 141 brake horsepower 1.6-liter regular hybrid. It's not exactly rapid, with an official 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 10.1 seconds, but it's quicker than a Toyota Yaris Cross. It pulls away on electricity alone, but acceleration is strongest above 15 miles per hour or so, when the petrol engine and electric motor are working in tandem. Suspension and ride comfort. The T-Cross isn't quite as comfy as the Skoda Kamiq or VW T-Roc, but it rides pretty well compared with most other small SUVs. It's much less fidgety than the firmer Kia Stonic for example, and far more controlled and less bouncy than the Citroën C3 Aircross. Often we suggest sticking with the smallest wheels possible for the smoothest ride. With the T-Cross though, while size makes little difference to comfort, and our recommended match trim comes with 17 inches wheels, which is as big as they get. The Juke isn't horrendously uncomfortable by any stretch, and the suspension takes the sting out of bigger bumps and road scars reasonably well. However, smaller imperfections cause the car to fidget around annoyingly no matter what speed you're doing. For the best comfort, we suggest sticking with the smaller 16 inches wheels fitted to entry-level and Connecta trim cars, and avoiding the 19 inches rims fitted to Tecna trim and above. Still, no version is as smooth as the most cosseting small SUVs, including the Kamiq and T-Roc. The Puma is less agitated than the Juke 2. The Juke Hybrid has slightly different suspension, and comfort is even less impressive than in the cheaper 1.0 DIG T114. Handling. Those looking for something easy to drive in town will find the T-Cross's light steering a boon. It's particularly helpful when you're trying to park or weave through traffic. On faster roads, it's not quite as agile or fun as the stiffer Puma, but there's plenty of grip on offer and body lean is fairly well controlled. The light steering doesn't provide much confidence at higher speeds though. Despite its lofty stance, the Juke doesn't sway around through tight twists and turns as much as you might imagine, and there's a reasonable amount of grip. It's still not much fun though, mainly because the steering wheel feels too keen to return to the center position when you're going round a corner, almost as though you've wound up an elastic band. It robs you of a lot of confidence and a sense of connection to the road. The Puma isn't only sharper and more agile, it's also much more fun to drive than the Juke. In fact, even the Kamiq and T-Roc are more composed through corners. Noise and vibration. The T-Cross's 1.0-liter petrol engine is pretty hushed by small SUV standards and only makes a distinctive chirp when revved. The T-Roc lets in even less wind and road noise when you're on the motorway. If you go for a version with a manual gearbox, you'll find the gearshift a bit notchy, but the clutch has an easily identifiable biting point that makes it easy to pull away smoothly. Likewise, the feelsome brake pedal helps it draw to a gentle halt. The Juke's 1.0-liter petrol engine is quieter than equivalent engines in the Kamiq and T-Roc, although you do hear some strange whistling noises from the turbocharger when you accelerate with any vigor. The hybrid is even more hushed when running on electricity alone, but when you ask for a burst of acceleration, its 1.6-liter petrol engine's coarse note disrupts the calm. The standard 6-speed manual gearshift in the DIG T114 is relatively light and easy, but the shift actions in rivals such as the Puma, Kamiq and T-Roc are noticeably more precise. The optional 7-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox is decidedly jerky and best avoided. The Juke Hybrid's autobox is smoother, but there's a long delay as it downshifts when you ask for maximum acceleration. Unfortunately, whichever version you go for, a fair amount of wind and road noise makes its way inside the Juke. Road noise is made worse if you have the 19 inches wheels that come as standard on the top trims. For quiet cruising manners in a small SUV, take a look at the T-Roc. Driving overview. T-Cross. Strengths: willing performance around town, good ride and handling balance. Weaknesses: there are more fun and comfortable small SUVs out there. N-Sport. Strengths: good body control, 1.0-liter engine is relatively hushed. Weaknesses: unsettled ride, noisier than many rivals, slow automatic gearbox. Interior. The VW T-Cross is no Range Rover in terms of driver elevation, but it does place you further from the road than many of its small SUV rivals, including the Ford Puma and Kia Stonic, and much higher than the Skoda Kamiq. Aside from how high you sit, the whole arrangement feels similar to that of the VW Polo, which the T-Cross is based on. That's a good thing because it means there's a wide range of seat and steering wheel adjustment, including standard height adjustment for the driver on all trims, plus a height-adjustable center armrest. Our only minor grumble is that, depending on the length of your legs, you might find that the leading edge of the seat base digs into the backs of your thighs. It's easy to get comfy behind the wheel of the current Nissan Juke. In fact, much easier than in earlier versions, which had steering wheels that adjusted for height but not reach. Our only real demerit is that you don't get adjustable lumbar support with any version. If the reason you're considering a small SUV rather than, say, a family car is that you like a lofty driving position, it's worth noting that you feel a bit higher up when sitting in a Juke than in a Skoda Kamiq. One thing we really like about the Juke's interior is that you get physical controls for the air conditioning on all versions. They're far less distracting to use when you're driving than using the infotainment touchscreen to adjust the temperature, as you must on some models.